Yeah, hello, Kenny.
Hi, Praful.
Yeah, now we'll discuss about Hacker News, one of the news source what we are planning to introduce, because we have our Twindle CLI working with Twitter thread to PDF, right? So we are planning to add
Yes.
this Hacker News,
Hmm.
and
Yes.
Hacker News is this kind of list of URLs. If you click it, right, it will go into the some other new URL. It is a kind of
Hmm.
bookmarking system. But the
Hmm.
important thing over here is that comment people are putting here. So we want to not convert
Hmm.
these links, rather we want to convert this, comments to a PDF format
Hmm.
or EPUB format, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
If you see that there is a comment, and lots of people who put very valuable comments, which is getting lost. People are not able to
Hmm.
participate and read
Hmm.
the discussion, and it is if you can able to convert it into the Kindle, it would be helpful.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
So this is the URL which is based upon an item, and we can get some
Hmm.
related information. They should start with
Hmm.
this edition of this, right? We have already Twindle CLI project. This
Hmm.
this particular hacken is also will go into the Twindle CLI only. Twindle/Twindle
Hmm.
CLI,
Yeah.
and inside the
Yes.
source, like here we have Twitter folder. Then we will have hacker news folder, maybe hacker news or HN, whichever is more comfortable. We can create a folder or
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
renderer, right? Or we can create a folder like sources, or for now we can have one more folder to
Hmm.
HN,
Hmm.
but it is up to you. What do you think?
Yeah. 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 Eventually, we can refactor it into a sources folder or something like that.
Yeah, but for now we can create an HN folder, and this CLI, right?
Hmm.
Once we'll give this link I, maybe we can just use I for the time being.
Hmm.
Then
Hmm.
if you not I, maybe we'll pass that URL, or we have to pass some kind of hacker news. We can just copy this entire thing, or we can pass this ID only.
Yeah. Yeah. Or we could also consider that. Yeah. Either we can give the entire URL for all the sources that we have, or we could say add another set of flags which are like, okay, which source do you want, so dash s or something, which we'll say Twitter or HN, something like that, and then we can just pass in the ID.
Yes, yes.
That's fine, that we can evolve. I think we can evolve.
Yeah, and maybe we can give both the option dash I with ID along with some other parameter to talk about source, or directly that URL
Hmm.
also, like hyphen URL or something like that. So we can, if you only give the
Hmm.
URL, based upon that URL, we can find out like it is from Hacker News or GitHub or Twitter.
Hmm. Yeah.
If you give the full URL, you don't need to give the source.
Hmm. Exactly.
Okay. So this is the comment structure. So basically, initially we have to, once we pass the ID, then we have to fetch that this information about this comment, maybe the link and some kind of information, whatever we are getting here, like the title and link, a
Hmm.
little bit more about that.
Hmm.
And also, like these are the comments we have to retrieve.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, I think there is a Twitter API available, Hacken is available, API available. So can you just talk about like how to access it? Or is it any authentication is needed for it?
Yeah. So this on this GitHub page, they have the documentation for their API. And it seems that they are saying that there is no particular authentication required, and there is also no kind of rate limit that is added. So as far as we are using it, it is kind of free without having to fuss around with any of the credentials like we had for Twitter. Like we needed to ask for a developer account, wait for a long time. So none of those issues are here. We can just anyone can just come in and start using the API. So I think, yeah, you're going the right direction. We can just replace the ID and we'll get the top level article related content from there.
So what is this
So if you
kids
look
is
at it,
about?
this yeah, so that is actually documented in that README file in GitHub. They have mentioned all the parameters that are coming in the response. But the skids is essentially what are its descendants. Descendants meaning, the comments at this stage. So whatever this article has, these are the IDs for the comments that have come for this article. So if you pick any of the ID from there, and if you make the same request with that ID, you will get that specific comment details.
So we have to loop through the ID and come up with that thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for each comment, what happens is if that comment has further replies, that will have a kids array again. So it's like a nested structure where we go deeper, deeper, deeper. Each article will have kids, which refers to the top level comments. And then each comment will have kids corresponding to the top level replies in that comment, and further on downwards.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
is that confusing or clear?
yeah, it is clear. So it is bit simpler to access the API, it seems.
Yeah, it is much simpler than Twitter. Um,
But actually,
the only question is there is too much freedom.
yeah, but
We
actually,
can do whatever we want, and uh, yeah,
yeah. So the API is a bit simpler, but the problem is that, right, we have to discuss more in terms of, putting some restriction because
yeah, exactly.
because there are so many information may not be available. If you can fetch some information like vote count or something, is the vote count is available? No, I
Is
think
it available? I'm not sure.
vote is not
Uh,
available, I think.
Maybe there is some other endpoint that might add that information or some other. Could you just try that GitHub README file? Just see.
Score is there. The votes per poll of.
There is a score. Yeah, I think score is essentially the same.
Oh, but for comment score is not there.
Yeah, could you check?
Yeah, this comment. Yeah, I think that is
Actually,
fine.
I'm not able. Yeah, I'm not able to see your full screen properly. I think some loading issue here. The video is only showing. Earlier scrolling was a bit jagged for me. Yeah, now it's okay. Now it's okay. So comment does not have any kind of a score. But at least if you at least these comments are actually ordered in terms of score only. So the KIDs kids that you see array, it is already ordered in terms of the score.
Mm-hmm.
That is the what they're saying in the documentation. So
Uh,
at least whenever you're fetching it. So yesterday I was talking to Trombley about this also. So even while we were viewing, hmm,
yeah, you're talking about something, Kenny.
yeah, I'm thinking what was I talking about? Yeah, so even yesterday I was talking to Trombley about this API part, and even while we were using the API, when we refreshed the page, the API ordering changed for the kids because one of the comments was upvoted or something like that. So I think whenever we are fetching the API, we are getting it in the ordered in terms of the highest score.
Yes. But mostly the old relevant to it, right? The latest information it may not add a value, but actually that older that changing won't happen that frequently.
Mm, mm, mm.
Yeah, but I got your idea. But we are both talking different thing little bit. But actually, you are saying that the whenever we are fetching, right, the comment will be ordered by the score itself.
Mm, mm.
Yeah. But if the score is available, right, then it would be given idea to filter out some score. But now we don't know that all 5 comment are important, or out of 5, 3 are having good comment and 2 are negative comment. But that is fine.
Yeah.
And one more thing, right? We can decide, like we can put it configurable, how many nested label we want to display. Because some comments are very big.
Yeah.
So we want to discuss about, like, some how many nested label we want to go. But I'm thinking like this would be lots of REST call.
Yes, that is one problem.
Yeah, but let's see, once we implement, then we can see how performance it looks like. But anyway, as long as it convert to PDF and it is free API, there is no restriction, we don't have any problem, right?
Yeah.
Even though it will run for 2-3 minutes, that's fine.
Yeah, totally. We can let the computer do all the work.
Yeah.
And one more question that we had when we were discussing yesterday was, in this situation right now, what we are doing is we are going to an article and we are taking the article ID and then finding the comments and converting. One thought that Trompy had was, why not we can enable the user to not give a specific ID, but say the user wants to see the top 10 news today in Hacker News. So then the idea was to fetch all the essentially one level above this, fetch all the IDs for the top 10 stories for the day, and then from there we can get all the comments and then render it. But then that would pose another nice question where if the user wants to get the top 10 on the Kindle, um, and the user has not already read the articles, suppose the user has not read these top 10 articles, so then do we provide a link to the article in the Kindle thread, or do we fetch the article, get the data from the article, and then when we are creating the PDF, do we include that content in the PDF? What do you think?
Yeah, that would be a good idea. But in this, that would be different sources we talk about, right? So for the time being, we don't need to put the content of the article into the link in the Kindle. We can only display the link and the title. That should be good enough.
Okay, yeah. Along those lines, so is a Kindle able to use a web browser?
Yeah, it is possible.
Okay, so then it's not a problem. We can just open the link article.
Yeah. We can open the link. That is not very fast, but is readable. And that is already inbuilt clutter-free reading experience. That is having a read mode.
Oh, okay. Then that's fine. Yeah.
And also that this Hacker News part, right? Whoever reading that latest comment, right? They may not be coming to read in the Kindle.
Could you explain that once more?
Yeah, it would be difficult to digest. But actually, if somebody is reading in the Hacker News, the main page, the front page, so they won't use our CLI.
Okay.
Because the comment are so much engaging, so much fast is changing, so they will always sing the stale data. So that converting the homepage to the Kindle is not going to be a great idea, because the repeat page, this Hacker News is changing the recent data, so nobody will read in the Kindle.
Okay.
But our thing will be very valuable, because what will happen, like if you see the best one, there are lots of discussion happen 1 day back, 2 days back, and 5 days back. And even though there are certain discussion which is long lasting, like the all-time favorites, last month favorite, and which is a little bit older, but lots of information are lifelong information, right? How you'll create your startup, how you'll do funding, how you'll do SEO marketing. So you'll get lots of tons of discussion already happened, and now there is no more comment is happening. That is gold mine information.
Yeah, that's a mature thread. Yeah.
So because that I'm mostly thinking to convert to Kindle. See, there is no restriction that you can't do that, but you got that user point of view.
Yeah.
We can't compete with the live information. Then our data will be, as soon as we publish Kindle, it will be outdated.
Yeah, got it.
But if it is older than 2.7, that's why our Twindle thread will be relevance. Because this will go the same as, because Twindle thread is a little bit different. You once publish a thread, right? So that all the good information already captured by author, content creator. But here that good information by means of comment. So we want to read the comment, but the comment is the live data is not a value addition.
Got it.
If somebody want to do that,
so it'll take some time.
What does it mean by time?
So it takes some time for the other people to comment on it and give the feedback. So it does not make sense to have it as real time.
Yes, and only, for example, base tweet, I may not get time. I've seen this tweet, I already 193 comment, I'm fine with that, 276 comment. Then I just put it in Kindle. That would make sense.
Yeah.
This is already discussion happened. I read the topic and I know I don't want to. Sometimes lots of people don't want to read the article also, and I'll just grasp through a couple of comments and understand what is going on.
Yeah.
Now once we read and get that IP, before we send to render part, right? The template may not be same.
Yeah, that's true.
We have to come up with a different template, different structure altogether. Because this is a comment nested structure, and it doesn't have images, other thing that is good. But at the rendering part of the Kindle also, we have to think really hard how we can display in a much more because we can't, if you give lots of spaces, right, then the Kindle last line will be will be crapped if you get lots of spaces.
Yeah, very thin column, right?
Yeah, so that see, if you can do this kind of, if you give lots of spaces here in Kindle, it doesn't look good. So we have to some intelligently apply that thing, reading experience, but at the same time we have to tell that it is a comment, it is from this comment, that comment, like that.
Reply, yeah.
Or in the EPUB we may have some interesting problem, because this comment we can have some expanding and closing option, or we can have divide into chapter, and something you can do that.
Yeah.
So it will also pose some interesting challenge in terms of rendering.
That is a good idea, because if we can like put it in some kind of a chapter format, then Kindle will also understand that, right? We'll be able to.
Yeah, but the challenge is that EPUB is Mobi is issue is there, right? Mobi is there is a technical limitation.
No, even for the EPUB we can do that.
But EPUB is not
So
supported in Kindle.
But okay, yeah, got it. But this PDF also has this kind of a bookmark or an outline feature, right? So if we can figure out how to do that, then we might get it working.
Yeah. But initially, that would be the second version. But initially, some content is to read is better than to start it. Maybe we can give, instead of giving 4 spaces, we may give 1 space, and we can little bit manage it. Or we can only display, we can display 3-4 level only just to read, and we can just skip. Because there is no need to display every information, right? It should be quick refresher. That is also good enough. The less information is more.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can pass in parameter option, like how many depth you want. So who is knowledgeable enough, by default we can have some 3 or 4 level comment nested. If you really want to go deep dive, like you can specify 10, then you can fetch the 10 level depth.
Yeah.
Alright? You got it, what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, that makes sense.
This command 1, 2, 3, 4 level. So by default we'll put as 3 level. But if somebody want to see that 10 level, then they can say that in a option like 10. Then we'll go into 10 level,
Yeah.
So that we can think through.
Yeah.
And initially we want to see some kind of 5 top command, and then only 5 structure it will display. It will ignore the rest. There is no need to loop everything and do that magic, because nobody reads the last command,
Yeah.
So we can by default to 5. the PDF readable
Mm.
experience should be better. It should be clean and it should have some kind of important aspect. It should be 2-3 pages, because if you know
Mm.
there is no limitation, that doesn't mean that we should clutter and we can dump everything.
Yeah, that would be a bad user experience.
Yeah. So you got it right. We have so many challenges here,
Yeah,
but we can give the configurable
Twitter, the
option.
problem. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so Twitter side, the problem was restriction. Hacker News, the problem is no restriction.
Yeah. And also the style is different. It is like we're trying to replicate the Twitter comment, because that is we are ignoring there, because I don't like Twitter comment is more relevant. Sometimes it does, but most of the
Yeah.
time it is like marketing message. You awesome, thank you very much, great job done, like that Twitter comments. Everybody, if you
Yeah.
do sit about there in Twitter also, people will say it is awesome work, it is awesome, excellent, it looks good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in Hacker News, you won't see that kind of comment.
Yeah, that's true.
That is the difference between. That's why I'm more interested to read this comment. I never read like comment in Twitter.
Mm. Mm.
But anyway, that is a separate discussion. So we'll have like source Hacker News. We'll fetch that API and get the information. Then we have it will go to the renderer. Let it go to the PDF only. But here PDF also should diverge the file. It needs to be refactored a little bit. So once we have like Hacker News format, it should render into different format. The create PDF and the basic utilities should be reused, but there should be some diversion. And we can try to
Yeah.
externalize. You can try to reuse this kind of A4 margin button, something like that. But at the same time, we should use something, and template and CSS we should drive from the other thing. So it would be good opportunity for refactoring the code, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So anything else you want to add for Hacker News?
I think that is about it for Hacker News.
Yeah, I think that's good.